The Financial Empires of History, Episode 1, The Game of Debt. Every nation on Earth is in debt. The United States today carries over $38 trillion, the highest level in its history. The European Union owes around $14 trillion, Japan about $9 trillion. Even oil-rich Saudi Arabia, export giants like Germany and China, are trapped in billions of dollars of debt. But there's something strange here. If everyone is in debt, who do we owe? This is one of history's greatest financial riddles, and the answer is darker and deeper than it seems. On this channel, we explore the crossroads of money, power, and history. Because nothing in this world is ever as simple as it looks. Debt, the invisible empire. Debt isn't just a burden, it's the foundation of our modern world. Every war, every crisis, every so-called economic miracle hides a mountain of debt beneath it. It's invisible, yet spreads everywhere like a web. Today, total global debt has surpassed $315 trillion. That's 3 times the size of the world economy. If all nations were companies, their balance sheets would be on the verge of collapse. How did we get here? The answer lies centuries ago, on the battlefields of kings. 1694, the birth of debt. The year is 1694. England is at war with France. The king's treasure chest is empty. He turns to the merchants and asks for money. But this time it's different. This isn't just another loan. In exchange, merchants would receive permanent interest payments backed by future taxes. To manage this new system, a new institution was born, the Bank of England. That moment changed history forever. For the first time, a state could spend money it didn't yet have. Debt had become the empire's new weapon. From gold to paper, from conquest to interest. Once upon a time, empires conquered lands to seize gold. Now they issue bonds to collect interest. The battlefield is no longer drawn on maps, it's written in balance sheets. National debt was no longer a sign of weakness, but a symbol of credibility. The more a country could borrow, the more powerful it appeared. Because the ability to borrow became the power to rule. The global chain of debt. Today, America owes $38 trillion. But here's the strange part. Half of that debt belongs to Americans themselves. The United States' biggest creditor is the United States. Banks, pension funds, insurance companies, even the Federal Reserve, all hold U.S. debt. The Treasury issues bonds, banks buy them, and when needed, the Fed buys them back, creating new dollars in the process. Citizens pay taxes. Those taxes fund the interest on those same bonds, and the cycle repeats. It's a mirror game. Money circulates within the system, but rarely finds its way back to the people's pockets. The endless global loop. The same game repeats across the world. Japan lends to the US lends to Europe lends to developing nations, and those nations deposit their reserves into Western bonds. It's a global chain of debt. Everyone holds someone else's IOU. Every promise is backed by another promise. And the system stands on one fragile rule. No one leaves the table. Who holds the real power? Behind every government lies an invisible web of power. Hedge funds, pension funds, central banks, and global investors. True power no longer resides in politics, it lives in credit. They decide who borrows cheaply and who pays the price for survival. When confidence fades, currencies collapse, governments fall, economies are reshaped overnight. Democracy decides who governs, markets decide who survives. Central banks, the modern high priests. Central banks don't manage debt, they create it. Every time they buy government bonds, they inject new money into the system. One person's liability becomes another's asset. Every dollar represents a debt somewhere else. There is no such thing as debt-free money. Every bill carries an invisible inscription: I exist because of debt. When confidence breaks. In 2010, Greece's debt exploded. Bondholders panicked. Interest rates soared. The International Monetary Fund and European Central Bank stepped in, but the cost was brutal. Higher taxes, austerity, unemployment, and a lost generation. Sri Lanka, Argentina, Venezuela. Different names, same fate. Every crisis restarts the same cycle. New debt replaces old debt. New names fill the same ledgers. Because the goal of the system isn't to repay, it's to keep the debt alive. The true purpose of debt. Governments never plan to pay off their debts. That's not a conspiracy, it's policy. Debt today works like a subscription. Every time a bond matures, a new one is issued. The economy beats like a heart, kept alive by the rhythm of borrowing. When politicians promise to reduce the debt, they're selling an illusion. The goal isn't to end debt, it's to keep it believable. Because once confidence disappears, the system collapses. The real secret. Debt was never meant to be paid. Paying off debt was never part of the plan. The plan was to make the world believe in it. But belief isn't shared equally. Interest payments flow upward, from taxpayers to investors, from workers to fund managers. That's why global debt and inequality rise together. The system rewards those who own the debt and punishes those who merely pay it. The final truth. The game of trust. In this story, there are no villains. Lenders and borrowers are part of the same machine. The danger begins when the engine runs out of fuel. When new debt can no longer cover old promises, the question, who do we owe, stops being abstract and becomes personal. We start pointing fingers at China, at Wall Street, at the IMF. But the truth is, we are all part of it. The modern financial system has turned debt itself into money. Governments issue it, banks multiply it, investors trade it, and citizens depend on it. The line between debtor and creditor has long since disappeared. Debt once meant bondage. Today it means balance. But if that balance ever breaks, if confidence fades, the illusion ends. And then we'll remember, debt, at its core, is a promise that can't last forever. If this story gave you a new perspective, hit subscribe. Because history doesn't hide the answers. It only hides them from those who forget.